Going ahead with the concept of motivation and leadership, we will try to go a bit deeper into the same concept. And as we have seen in earlier parts of the same topic discussion, there are different concepts and stages that this process or journey goes through. And though it is one thing to talk about different steps and deeper steps as we are going to talk about in this particular session. But in reality, this process that happens over a few sessions in these talks of 10-15 minutes, half an hour, in reality, in life, it is most likely going to take a lot longer for you to go through those steps and come to a point where realistically you can relate to, use, understand, and implement the deeper aspects of this journey. So, when we are talking about this deeper aspect today, now, it's in a way connected or a development on the earlier aspects where you would have already gone through a process of self analysis, trying to understand your your true self, your true purpose in context to the surrounding circumstances and situations, and would have tried to take few small steps by yourself to get that experience of trying to be true to yourself. And you would have had that experience and it would have started to stabilize a bit in you. And that, depending on the individual, depending on the circumstances, can take different durations of time. So, once you start progressing on that journey or path of process of motivation and leadership and process of being true to yourself in context to your specific customized life situation, which will be different of course for different individuals. But once you have some personal experience and understanding and grasp of the challenges, the specifications of the general concept, but also in context to your real life situation. And once you start getting a taste of it, and that longing and that joy and happiness of walking on this path starts growing, it is then that you would be developing some amount of confidence of walking on this path by yourself. And as you start progressing on this path, there is a distinct quality that starts developing, which is that on this path, the struggle in your life as you go ahead, as against popular expectations, the struggle in your life starts going down. This is a very distinct quality that tells you that you are on the right path. It is a bit self-contradictory in the sense that detecting this true purpose, your true self, and trying to be and the trying to detect the exact focus of being true to yourself can be a bit tricky and challenging, and that can involve some internal struggle within you trying to get that focus. But once you have even a little bit of focus, and once you start taking some steps and progressing on this path, it should be evident to you that as you progress, things become smoother, easier. The struggle generally in your life, and specifically in context to this path, starts going down, goes on decreasing and decreasing, and things become easier and smoother and more obvious and clearer as you go ahead. In a way, it is like the story of the man who wants to rescue somebody from a high tower, and he starts by sending a small beetle with a silk thread tied to the beetle, and the beetle climbs up to the tower, and the man in the tower gets the silk thread, and then the man below ties a string to that silk thread, and the man in the tower pulls it up, and then a slightly thicker string and a thicker string, and then finally a rope, and then that man gets the rope, and he ties the rope, and then he climbs down from the tower. So starting from a small beetle and a silk thread to a big rope, it's almost akin to a feeling of starting from a small bylane on which only you can walk. It is a single footstep lane, and gradually as you start walking, it goes on widening and becomes more and more obvious till you reach a point where it becomes like a big motorway, and things become more and more obvious and easy that that is the most natural and the easy thing for you to do, and that you were built, you were made to walk on that path. And then automatically it becomes a reciprocal positive feedback process. The more you find it easy, the more you walk on it, the more you trust yourself, the more you trust being true to yourself, and the more and more obvious the path becomes, the more clearer the path becomes. Of course, it is one thing progressing on this path of motivation and leadership, and it is, as you can see, to a great extent internal journey. The external circumstances are also obvious, and in the beginning it is difficult to balance and harmonize the external circumstances with this internal journey that you go through. But as you go ahead, it becomes more and more obvious, and the same feeling of harmony and balance, and the feeling of struggle going down on this path, and things becoming easier and smoother and obvious, that same feeling starts getting translated onto your external circumstances, relationships, generally in life around you and with people around you. And of course, that gets translated into struggle generally decreasing also in the external circumstances around you, and your life starts getting a different kind of balance and harmony. It's almost like many a times many people get a feeling when they are on this journey of leadership as if they are sitting in a vehicle that is being driven on a path on a highway by somebody else, and it is a very joyful and enjoyable journey. Of course, there are many challenges, but those challenges are integral to the path. It's fun to address those challenges. Those challenges are not something that scare you or panic you. They, in fact, improve your focus on the path and on your journey better and better. And those challenges are welcome, something that you look forward to. But in essence, the feeling is as if you are sitting in a vehicle or in an object that is moving, and the object is moving by itself on a predetermined path. And that is the purpose of your life, the purpose of your being true to yourself. And you are as if holding a steering wheel that you seem to be moving and controlling, but the real control is somewhere else. And of course, your trust in that sense of movement and growth keeps on growing and building as you go ahead and as you realize the outcomes and the effects of this progress and growth, and the kind of harmony and balance and beauty that it brings inside you and also around you in life. Another common experience that many people describe in this process is that they get a feeling that the way ahead grows from somewhere beyond them. It grows from beyond your thinking mind, from a space of creativity which is outside your thinking mind. It is as if there are challenges that seem to be presented to you on the way, and simultaneously, as those challenges are presented, there are solutions also that are presented to you that operate through you, but you become like a medium for transfer of those solutions to connect them to those challenges in a way. But it is very clear and distinct for you that those solutions come from a space that is beyond your voluntary control, that is beyond your active mind. And that space of creativity is generally connected with a space of silence and stillness within you. And that space of creativity and silence and stillness keeps on growing, and your confidence and trust in it also keeps on growing. And this automatically gets in what we have discussed earlier, a sense of humility in you, as you realize that there is a small part generally, of that process that is connected to your voluntary actions that you can control and determine the course of. But there is a great part of this, a big major part of this journey, of this process that happens from a space beyond you. And that gets in a sense of true humility and also easiness and relaxation and comfort inside you. And also a sense of friendliness about everybody, that if it is possible within you, then it is also possible within people around you. And then that leader is not a leader that is trying to enforce any control or opinions on other people, but understands that the same potential also lies in people around him or her, and appreciates that potential and allows the space and time for the development of that potential in people around him. As you start progressing on this journey, you will also realize in popular media, literature, there are several examples. You will meet several people and detect different signals in stories or movies or things that you may have heard or read in your past that suddenly make a different sense to you. Like, for example, in Star Wars, the popular saying, the force is strong with this one. It can be interpreted as that yes, this person has developed this sense of inner journey and has developed and walked on this path of being true to himself or herself. And in a way, walking on this path gets your life aligned to the bigger picture. There is a bigger picture that the existence follows as it unfolds its mystery, and your life path in a way gets synergized, aligned with this bigger picture, and that is what gets in the sense of harmony, and that is where the struggle actually starts going down. And that is what is called that the force, the bigger picture, is strong, is very well connected with this one. There are several examples that we see in literature. It is the same thing is explained in this book where the author describes something called as the flow theory, where there is a detailed study of with a scientific approach of different people that have progressed on this journey and how they have found this peculiar mental state of optimal consciousness, optimal experience, and a sense of joy and happiness that is self-propagatory, and where, as the author finds and describes as one of the models, that there is a sense of harmony between two factors, which is your learning or your skill set or the capabilities that you have and the challenges that are presented to you in life. And in a way, it is a interplay between these two factors, just like yin yang. They are self-propagatory and mutually they help each other's growth. There are other examples like this, another book by the author Joseph Campbell called The Hero with a Thousand Faces, where the author has described over history and over through mythology actually. So in a way, through the entire history of mankind, from past to the present, a concept called as a monomyth, a same story, monomyth, that gets repeated over and over again in all popular mythologies, in all popular literature, in all popular poetries, in all popular movies. Something called as a hero's journey, wherein the central character, which of course is you in your life, me in my life, each individual goes through this process of crisis and challenges and a transformation that crisis and challenge creates in that person, and that person evolves through this transformation with some regenerated energy resources, new energy resources that he or she discovers within himself or herself, and through that transformation then grows to a different higher level in life, and again goes through that same process again and again. And that hero's journey, as if, is a template that everybody's life goes through. So there are several such examples, signals, signs that you will detect on the way as you will progress on this journey. And those encourage you further and further reinforce your confidence and trust in your path and in your journey, and give you the clarity of approaching your goal, which in a way is a endless goal. As once you start on this journey, the journey itself creates that joy for it to become a self-propagatory, self-growing kind of a journey. And that joy, that feeling of harmony and balance that grows by walking on this path itself becomes your reward. As you go ahead, the challenges keep on growing and your goals keep on growing, and just walking on that journey, that big motorway, just allowing the force to be strong with you and enjoying that feeling of balance and harmony and of being connected becomes a kind of a subtle goal for you, and that is what propels your life forward.